Hey everybody, welcome back. So we are back for another vExpert Daily. So kicking it off for now, we're somewhere in the 6th or 5th or 7th year, we're not really sure. We tried to figure it out in Vegas and we still couldn't, we were in Vegas, so we really couldn't tell at all. So back in Europe, actually this is only, I think, the 3rd year we've done it in Europe. So it's good to be back. We'll kind of just get going through some quick intros of everyone. So I'm Mike Letschin, I'm the field CTO at Nexenta. But have been a vExpert for just about, I think, all but the first year. I think I didn't apply. I think that's what actually happened. So introduce yourself, each of you, and then we'll get going.
Yeah, I'm Matthew Bunce. I'm a lead consultant for Extrovert. I've been a vExpert for the last 2 years.
Can you hear him? I think your mic's not working.
Yep.
Nope.
Yep, can you hear me?
Are you on?
Yeah, I am. On screen. Speak louder. Try speaking louder.
If he just yells, it makes up for the mics? Oh, he's basically yelling and hearing through ours.
Awesome, okay. So talk a bit louder then.
So
okay.
I'm not leaning close enough to you, though, for you to do that. Just to be clear, that's not how this is going to work.
He ate garlic last night, so.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, so we'll go back to the introduction. So talk very loudly, apparently.
Yeah, okay.
Just yell at us.
So I'm Matthew Bunce. I'm a lead consultant for Extrovert. I've been a vExpert for 2 years, vExpert NSX for the first year, and yeah, this is my first VMworld.
Well, so you've been a vExpert for 2 years, and it's the first time you've made it to VMworld?
It is, yeah. Unfortunately, work has always come first, so this is the first time I've been able to make it out here.
So instead of work, you decide to play for a week in Barcelona. That's unfortunate. I can't. I mean, why would you? Of all places, why would you come to Barcelona?
You make difficult choices.
Yeah, sometimes you got to. You're up.
I'm Johan van Amersfoort. I'm a team lead end user computing at ITQ Consultancy. I have been a vExpert for 2 years now, and since this year I'm end user computing champion. So
that's a fancy title.
Yeah, it's.
Yes.
Now we don't. Now he doesn't have to yell at us anymore. That's good.
It's actually my second VMworld this year, so I've been to Las Vegas as well, and yeah, it's awesome.
So you decided to play for 2 weeks, not one?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Good.
My name is Mark van Bochum. I'm also a consultant at ITQ, vExpert for 2 years now, second VMworld, so yeah, awesome to be here.
So this one's a little bit smaller than Vegas.
It's different.
A little bit.
It's different.
I think they claimed 23,000 people in Vegas. I don't know if there were 23,000 people in Vegas, but they claimed 23,000.
Like it.
That was.
Like
there might have been 23,000 people in Vegas. There were not 23,000 people at that show. No chance. This one normally though, we're sub 10,000 people normally here. I mean, normally it's 6,000, 7,000 people. So it's always interesting. I think some of the announcements, things like that, you get them. They tend to push them for US.
Yeah.
Or they used to push them for partner exchange, and now without that, so we're starting to see a little bit more. So we heard 6.5 on some stuff this morning. I think we were all kind of, it's tough to be an announcement when everyone already knows it's coming.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming you guys were well aware 6.5 was coming before.
Yeah.
What's your take on that? What's so big that people should pay attention to on 6.5? Why do they care? I mean, realistically, the hypervisor is kind of a commodity at this point. So why does it matter?
It's
You probably need to put the mic up to your mouth now.
Simplification of management. So things like the HTML5 interface starting to show up.
Have you played with the HTML5 client yet?
Yeah, to a small extent.
Well, you can really only play with it to a small extent, seeing it has only half of the feature set.
Yeah, there's bits missing there, but it's coming in there. The high availability for the vCenter is going to be a big sort of key part of it now.
So they say that though, but is it? I mean, in all reality, I think people are used to just, you virtualize it, it's there. If it fails over, it fails over. Do you think the HA of it is really going to matter?
So for VRA and VDI, I think it's going to be a big thing. Where the vCenter is key to keeping everything ticking over. It's going to be a big change.
So from the UC side, you see that being a big deal?
Yeah, definitely. You know, vCenter and the View Composer are linked to each other. If one of either components isn't there, you aren't able to basically maintain your desktops. But yeah, also, you know, when generating new desktops on the fly, that doesn't work if vCenter is not available. So a high available vCenter, yeah, it's really good.
That's going to be a big deal.
A lot of questions about it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got HA then. That's the one part of it.
Yeah.
The cross cloud stuff. Do you think EUC side? I don't think we're going to see that.
No.
I mean,
definitely not.
anybody who wants to pay for that is out of their gourd. Like, I'm going to take my data in and out for a desktop. No chance.
Yeah.
I don't think the cross cloud. Where do we see that being a fit then? So it's not on the end user side. Is it tier 1 apps? Is it tier 2 apps? Is it ones that we haven't played with yet?
I think it's one of the key things is it's going to be de-risking the idea that you have everything in one cloud provider now. So you're going to be able to put different workloads in, not just their own availability groups within a single cloud provider, but actually move them into separate clouds. So you could completely de-risk that. We're going to have a problem with Amazon, we're going to have a problem with Azure. Now we can split workloads.
So how's the business going to deal with that though? Because I mean, it's always been simplify, give me one bill. Simplify, give me one vendor. And now you're saying, well, yeah, we need to take the risk out of it, so I'm going to go with 3 vendors.
Potentially.
Do you think the business is going to have an issue with that now?
I think you're going to start to see the idea of cloud brokers, so one company offering better sort of pricing spread across the different clouds.
So instead of the traditional service provider value-added reseller relationship, now you've got basically a cloud broker that's just giving you a way to get to them?
Yeah, you'll see someone coming in to say, right, well, you deal with us and we'll deal with cloud providers. So I think that'll be something we'll see over the next couple of years now.
What do you guys think on that? Where's this cross-cloud going to play into the enterprise?
I think for test development work, it's awesome because you can scale up quite rapidly.
So seeing it coming in at that level where it's our initial guys and then still keep your production either on premises.
On premises, yeah.
For the second time this week, Al. I did a panel on Sunday that premises came up more than once. So keeping kind of production load on site there, but then test dev, you think flowing out, making it easier for that migration coming in. So interesting, test dev tends to be one of your bigger workloads. When you look at just number of VMs and number of amount of data in and out. So that's great, now we're gonna run on Amazon. So I can run my NSX and have networking going across to it and have a single network. That doesn't sound cheap.
No, but the idea is that you don't keep the workloads there all the time. They're only there as and when you need them, so you can spin them up, tear them down, keep your costs down that way.
Because developers are good about cleaning up after themselves.
Yeah. Well, that's where lifecycle management and automation comes in. The idea that we keep a VM for a limited amount of time.
And I think, they did some announcements around kind of some of the vRealize stuff. I think to try to help that a little bit. I don't know how many enterprises are really deploying that fully yet, though.
I think they'll have to, though. I think this will be one of those things they have to start doing.
They're going to start doing it, and then you're going to see the price go up. They're going to start spending the money, and somebody's going to be like, you got to figure a way to fix this. And then they'll see that coming. It'll be an after effect.
We've seen projects where we've had customers coming back from public cloud just because they can't control the costs. So they're coming back in on premises into private cloud just so there's your capital investment. We know what that's going to be, rather than seeing a credit card bill coming in from devs' own expense.
So do you think we're having that shift back into I'm going to run my own data center, I'm going to bring it back into, we kept hearing for, the last 3-4 years, everybody's going out. But now we're pulling that back again, you think?
They went out to give them flexibility and ease of use, but with flexibility and ease of use comes cost. Now they're seeing how much that's actually going to cost. They're having to bring that back in-house to control those costs. And
going to more of a software-defined data center side, I think helps that. Because now, commodity gear is commodity gear. I can say, you know what, I want a server and come compete for me. I don't care if it's an IBM or a Lenovo or an HP or a Dell or whoever. I don't care what the sticker on the front of it is. I need a server. And the power of them has got to be helping at this point. Just the sheer density that we can see on site is the cost is tough to justify sometimes, I think, right now, going off.
I think one of the big things you've seen coming from public cloud is that consolidation of hardware. No longer sort of you're fitting 40 servers into a rack, you're fitting 200 servers into a rack, and that's coming back into the enterprise now. So the enterprise is paying less to host the same amount of as tin as they were before, so their data center costs are going to come down. They're starting to see that the value is still there of being on premises rather than pushing everything out to the cloud.
So I actually think VDI has had a pretty big, as much as we've heard it's the year of VDI, the impact of that density number, I think people were scared to do it until they started doing desktops on it. You start throwing 100 desktops on a host, now they're like, my servers will be fine. Like, I don't need to limit it to 20 just because it felt right to limit it to 20.
Yeah.
The horsepower was there. Do you guys think that you're seeing more impact coming up from the end user space? Or is it that shift on the hardware side of things? Hardware prices going down, less impact from storage costs and everything else?
It basically depends on the workload. We see an increase of 3D accelerated workloads coming, but the density of those workloads in your local data center is still lower than when you take a desktop from the cloud that has that acceleration already in it. So yeah, basically based on that density, cloud is taking over, I guess.
Oh, so you're seeing that shift still too, but just on site more than going out on it. So we had those announcements. We're expecting obviously a few more over the next couple of days. That they hinted a little bit at Workspace One this morning a little bit, which really, I mean, I could see that's going to have a big impact if it takes off. I mean, in all reality, Citrix built a business on it. It's not like really the application side of things for the desktop was.
No, this morning there was a blog post released around one of the things that will be announced tomorrow.
Somebody said something early?
Yeah.
How dare they?
Yeah, no, it was on the VMware blog, so...
Must have been one of the VBrownbag guys.
Yeah, it's official. No, the Skype for Business integration will be announced tomorrow, and that will be a game changer.
So give the people watching a little snippet. What does that mean? What are they actually looking at?
Devices currently most devices have H.264 offloading chip inside the device. And what the new integration will do is to offload every Skype for Business traffic and media encoding and decoding to that chip. So you get an endpoint to endpoint connection instead of having to run it through the desktop session. So it's basically offloading endpoint to endpoint.
Taking that out of that extra load that you're putting on the VM at that point.
So there's an additional channel created to do that, and in the BLAST protocol.
So how's that going to impact our network usage?
Well, it keeps everything point to point now, rather than bringing everything back to the data center, tromboning back to the data center. It's going to minimize. It's going to minimize that traffic now. It's going to cut down on latency. It's going to cut down on jitter, and keeping everything on the endpoint gives you the benefit of having a full client, but
so
still with a thin client.
Feels like you're doing
that's right,
what we've done for years on it, as opposed to that lag.
So it's going to start bringing things like video conferencing into VDI to be affordable and usable at scale as well, rather than just
So even though we heard they tried it and said, oh well, you can get it with PC over IP, or you could get it with HDX, this will actually make it usable versus as you're like, that's not really going to make it work.
Well, the more you used video with HDX and PCOIP, the larger the service at the back end had to do. Your cost per desktop goes up. Offloading everything to the client side means that those costs now are at the client device side, rather than sort of having to increase density at the server side.
So doing that, I think we had a discussion the other day with guys about kind of the way storage is moving, specifically like in the data center, that next gen. But it came up to that the answer isn't just, storage costs are going down, but people's networking costs are going up because of it, or they're having to refresh their network more frequently. So are you seeing that being able to do SDN is actually getting some hooks on now? I think SDN has lagged a little behind because I don't refresh my network every 3 years. Like, I might refresh my desktop, maybe my servers. My core infrastructure is not that easy to switch out every 3 years.
And it's not just your core costs that are there, you've got your WAN cost as well. By moving everything out to the cloud, the users have got to get out to it as well. And a lot of people don't put that into their cost models. They don't realise that now actually those users are consuming 20 meg of internet connection rather than 20 meg of local. And 20 meg of internet is obviously a lot more than a local connection.
And you're seeing that from, if they're sitting in an office, even more if you're paying for the people that are remote.
Yeah. So in an office, you've got the ability to scale. You can put a dedicated pipe into a cloud provider. You've got express route and things like that you can utilise. But if you've got remote workers, you've still got to take their costs back into the office and then out to the cloud or direct to the cloud provider.
So we deal with a lot of the infrastructure, obviously, here. I mean, it's an infrastructure show in all reality. I mean, Vegas was pretty much a storage show. I haven't seen the floor fully yet, but I'm pretty sure it's probably still a storage show. I mean, you walk around, half of them are storage. You get a couple networking guys scattered about and a couple server vendors, but for the most part, it's infrastructure. How's that impacting actually the information side of things? That shift from not really infrastructure technology, that people want to know how that's going to impact my data. Your current users don't care about infrastructure, so how do we get more people into this world to pay attention to it, to understand it? How do we fix that gap right now? I think a lot of people kind of came up, oh yeah, I had to do infrastructure. It wasn't sexy, but yeah, I had to learn how to do storage side of things. I had to learn how to run the infrastructure side of my data center. A lot of people coming in right now either don't know it or don't care to know it.
No, and I think there's a lot of the thing from the business side of it. They're not interested in little blinking lights in a data center. They just want to see that this is now costing us less than it did 2 years ago. And I think there is that drive to not care about the infrastructure. Simplify it, make it someone else's problem.
So does that just mean that the people that know it end up becoming far fewer, get paid better?
There will be a consolidation.
Supply and demand.
Yeah, there will be a consolidation of those kind of roles, I think. But they will move towards the cloud providers.
So it becomes more of an architect role for the companies versus
an
admin.
Yeah.
You don't get a storage admin, you don't get a VMware admin.
No.
You get somebody better be architecting the environment. That's your IT guy. Is an architect that's might not have any idea how Exchange works.
Yeah.
He just knows you need email from Office 365, so here you go.
Exactly, and that's now API driven, so that's not even, it's just a script that can be automated, so there's no one even there needing to provision in the mailboxes now.
So it's an interesting, going the API side of things, I think most of the infrastructure, if you don't have an API, in all reality, it's not, you're not a successful company at this point. You have to have something robust. Seemingly everyone but VMware. You're not really managing your hypervisors as well. Maybe you're doing some CLI, some Power CLI scripting on it, but it's not the API you get from the actual infrastructure guys. How are they managing to kind of get away with that?
Good question.
I think the
Apparently I threw a curveball on that one. I don't get to do that too often. It's nice, I'm like,
I think the idea of a public and a private API will have to go away soon. I think people expect to be able to do what any other bit of software can do. They don't just want to get a small subsection of the API that they can do a little bit. They want to be able to do everything that everyone can do.
And all through whatever interface they want to do it with, whatever script or their language.
Yeah, if you can do it in vCenter, you need to be able to do it in Power CLI. If you can do it in Power CLI, you need to be able to do it in REST API. And that needs to be end-to-end all the way through.
Yeah.
Not small parts of little bits there.
Yeah, but that's not an announcement we're hearing anything about. So I mean, is that the next phase they need to go? Because I mean, mostly you can do it with OpenStack. The container side, you can most of the container stuff.
Well, look, NSX and the API with NSX that is more than they've ever sort of produced for any of the other products.
Helps when you buy it.
Yeah. So
there's the other way around.
But now they've got those skills there. They have got that people within the business going API is important.
API. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's now changing, and I think we will see that shift.
So now that we're kind of shifting away from announcements and things like that, the floor obviously just opened. I know you guys haven't got much time to get down there. Is there something you're looking forward to seeing? Is there a vendor, a way that you go through the floor that people should go, oh, well, if I look down the list, I don't tend to go to the big global platinum partners anymore. No. In all reality,
it's a small
I know who Dell is. I know who HP is. Yeah. They're not showing me anything at this show that is just groundbreaking and it's going to blow my mind.
I think the one vendor that will be interesting is seeing what's come out of the Dell and the EMC merger. I think the Dell Technologies is going to change what they're offering. It's going to change the products. And I want to see how that's starting to happen now.
And watching what's coming, what's going.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Where that consolidation is.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to get that on the floor this week?
It'll be interesting to see if you can have this conversation.
No.
Yeah,
do we think that's going to be a technology-driven, or is it going to be a sales-driven consolidation from them?
Well, you've suddenly got Dell sales guys that can sell EMC kits and EMC guys that can sell Nutanix on Dell. It's a real fundamental shift within the market, and it's going to take a while for the ripples to spread. But
I don't know too many Dell guys that like EMC.
No, but sales guys, they change what they like depending on what they get paid on.
They speak green.
Yeah.
That would be our common in the States. They speak green, so they just like cash.
Yeah.
So we've got Dell EMC. You mentioned the little guys. Is that your kind of the way you attack the floor when you do go into the floor?
Yeah, I'd really like to to do the smaller stands and talk
See
to
who's
people.
new, see who's...
Yeah.
what they're
definitely.
bringing, and
I think
all the
we
new
get that
things.
interesting here more than in Vegas now.
I don't know.
US, there it's a big floor, but it's expensive for the really small ones to get there. Where this one, they can kind of, if they're a European-based company, if it's a US-based small new startup, you're not going to see them here. It's too expensive to bring everybody over for it. But I think I definitely get to see some companies here that I won't see in the US. Those
but
little
it
ones.
works the other way around as well. The US floor, for instance, had Stacksware, which was a brand new company who made a product that in which you are able to see what applications are actually running inside your virtual environment. You could check licensing and stuff like that, compliancy, with a real smooth interface. They'll probably won't be here because they're US based and
A little smaller US-based startup.
yeah. But still, Cohesity is one of my favorites, to be honest, from VMworld in Las Vegas. So definitely.
And they had a decent-sized booth in Vegas.
Yeah,
though. I mean,
they had.
I mean, I know them well. Their office is literally next door to ours. You go up the stairs, you go left, it's Next Center. You go right, it's Cohesity. That's how close they are. So yeah, they're an interesting one to follow. They're playing in a space that I don't know is a space. I mean, that tier 2, tier 3, I'm only going to keep your data there. I'm interested to see how that pans out.
Yeah,
It may be. I mean, it may very well become a space that I'm just looking at going, there's a lot of stuff I can just have software handle that.
Yeah, Rubrik does a similar kind of thing.
Yeah.
Works in the same space, and it seems hot to do something in that space nowadays. So
It's not generic storage.
no, it isn't.
In our reality, generic storage right now is a tough market to be in.
Yeah.
Well, the AWS deal is going to cause even more problems for that. If they can now access Glacier and they can access block storage and things like that, what do you think? People are going to buy their own tin, or they're going to put it out to them? Again?
Yeah, it's a question mark.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see on that. So, well, I think we're going to wrap up here. So how about one comment from each of you on kind of, if you were going to tell everybody what they should look for at the show, what they should anticipate for, even if it hasn't been announced yet, or if it's something, what would each of you say the one thing that somebody is either here or they're at home and they're thinking, do I come next year? Is it worth coming? Should they come? One little piece of advice.
Yeah, I think it's a great way to sort of keep up with what's going on. I think there's going to be some smaller announcements. There's going to be some products maturing. vVols for one hasn't really hit the mark so far, but vVols 2 hopefully announced. So
that should go with
Yeah.
with everything from everything I've talked to everyone.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, mine isn't basically a session or a presentation or something like that. You are actually able to interact with the people that made products or that own the products within VMware.
And all those vendors.
Yeah, and the vendors. So I had great meetings already with the App Volumes team, for instance, and got some real insights on what's happening, and that's the most valuable thing to me. And people should attend VMworld to do that.
For the networking, for the people, to get the people.
Most definitely.
Community guys. To see everybody from the community, to be able to speak to clients. That's the most awesome
I
thing.
think the community has evolved over the last few years, but it's still worth it if you're a hands-on guy or you're trying to figure out what's next.
Yeah.
Especially if you're an architect type. At this point, a lot of the community has kind of grown to that level, but there's still people coming in and it's still filling it. So, well, awesome. Speaking of community, thank you guys all.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming in. I think we're wrapping up here. So, thanks and have a great day. We will see you guys tomorrow for one more vExpert Daily tomorrow. But at this point, we're gonna hand it to the rest of the vBrownbag guys to get some shows going.